Stop me if you've heard this one. The Eagles rolled to an easy victory. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Brock Eagle Football Show, brought to you by H&S Septic Services. As the Eagles once again dominate, this time it was over Southwest 69-0. Holt Frazier throws for 258 yards, 6 touchdowns, 19 touchdowns on the year already. I mean, that's crazy. We're just now not even officially at the halfway mark. It is week 5 of a 10-game season, but remember, we have 11 weeks in the season with the bye. Speaking of that, go ahead and get this out of the way, and I'll probably say it again at the end. Because the bye week, there will be no traditional coaches show for Brock next week. I just like to give the coach a week off because we'd basically be talking the two same things, and everything I want to ask him about the bye week, I'll ask him the next week anyway. And that'll be district play, by the way. We will do something for the Brock show, but it won't be the traditional show. But I will know more about that once I talk to Mike Hilburn. But anyway, another big victory for Brock, another easy win. And I mean, it's just crazy to think people thought Brock might struggle a little bit, not necessarily with the non-district schedule outside of Decatur, but we didn't know what this offense was going to be like. And even in that Decatur game, this offense has been just absolutely amazing. It's been fun to watch, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon, especially this week against Prosper Richland, a very new school. They're so new. This is a renegade or outlaw schedule. They're just bounced around. They've played Gunner. And they kind of stuck with Gunner for a little while, but since then, they've struggled. They're winless, and so be it. All right, we do want to thank our sponsor, H&S Septic Services. You can reach out to them, 682-214-6003. They're located in Parker County, but they will service all surrounding counties, including Hood. And in fact, even if you don't know for sure if they'll cover or come out to you, just give them a call and see. Or you can go to their website, hssepticservicestexas.com. Also, the Optimist Football Club. We had Players of the Week last week. We'll have Players of the Week again next week. Just didn't get them in time for this week. But that's kind of fun, keeping up with the Optimist Football Club and the Brock teams through Mike and sponsorship of this show. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Coach Billy Mathis, right here on the Septic H&S Services Brock Eagle Football Show. Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Terry Bennett back here on the Brock Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Eagles, Coach Billy Matheson. Coach, you run your record to 4-0. I mean, at this point, you're putting up basketball scores, 69-0. But I mean, your defense helped with the scoring as well.
They did, man. The defense played lights out. It was exciting to finally get that shutout. You know, Matlock had a pick six, and Big Brax had a fumble recovery, a scoop and score. It was a long one. You know, when Braxton got that scoop and score, he's supposed to run down on kickoff the next play, but he was about to hyperventilate. We had to go over there and, you know, fan him a little bit. But it was exciting. It was fun, man. I love the way the defense was flying around. You know, Southwest, you know, those two running backs they have, you know, they're both about 250 pounds, and they get coming downhill. They're tough to stop. And to do it for 4 quarters and to play the way we did, we were very excited and very pleased with them.
Offensively, once again, Frazier, Matlock, the running game. I mean, it's a broken record, but, I mean, this offense, you know, and it's so funny how even you and I were talking before the year started. You didn't know where this offense was going to start. But, I mean, it hit the ground running, and it's not slowed down one bit.
No, you know, and it all starts up front with the O-line, and those guys just keep getting better week in and week out. And then having an effective run game the way we do just opens up the passing. And, you know, Frazier's done an amazing job back there with his poise and, you know, his accuracy and, you know, just getting the ball to the playmakers. And, you know, Coach Christensen and the guys have done a great job each week of, you know, not only getting them prepared and ready, you know, but getting out there and calling a good game. And when your quarterback is on the same wave as your offensive coordinator, it just makes things flow better. You know, Blake can look out there and, you know, yell out there something to Holt, and, you know, Holt knows exactly what he's saying, or he can give him some hand signal or whatever, and he knows exactly what he's saying. And it just opens up a whole nother realm of offense. So, and they are just hitting on all cylinders, and we just got to keep that going, and stay on top of it.
Well, I mean, I have to ask, and you've played, a solid Decatur team and solid teams. This isn't the schedule you had when the first couple of years when you were going up against the Wimberleys of the world. But through all this good play and stuff, are there any things that you've picked out that you're like, okay, I know it's not hurting us now, but we need to fix this to go farther in the playoffs to get to the Carthage matchup and stuff like that? Are there any little things you feel y'all need to work on?
No, yeah, there's always, you get there, the film, and the game is never as good or as bad as you think it is. When you get in there and watch the film, you pick up a lot of stuff. A lot of things that we got to work on. We still got to tackle better. We're still missing assignments on offense and defense that we shouldn't miss. So it's those type of things that we have to work on each week, and that's what I tell the boys every week. Heck, if they were perfect, they wouldn't need us. So I'm glad they're making some mistakes so they can keep us around to try to fix them.
Well, I mean, you say that, but you got that country music career you got to start on here pretty soon, Coach.
Yeah, I might put that on the back burner a little bit. We're having a lot of fun here in Brock, Texas, right now, playing some football. So, I'll keep that for the boys in the locker room. They like to hear me sing a lot.
Oh, is that what they tell you?
Yeah, they have to hear. They have to listen.
So this week you take on a Prosper Richland school. This is a new school, and this is a weird one. They're doing the old school, what they call outlaw schedule. I always like that because it sounds worse than it really is. But, I mean, they're not a great team, but they have played great teams, and they played with Gunter for a little bit when they played them in week 2. What are your thoughts on Richland?
I think they're an up-and-coming team. First year at school, you're always going to have, your bumps and bruises in your first year, getting that team camaraderie together. That's the biggest deal. And watching film on them, you can see them each week getting better and better and better and, really coming together. And I know the coaches out there are great coaches, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but they're on the right track. They're a very skilled team right now, and they're as good as anybody skill wise. Up front they're big, and they just keep them getting better up there on the offensive and defensive lines. But they got guys that can go the distance at any point, any time on the field. So, we got to go out there, and same thing we say every week. We got to go out there and focus on the fundamentals, going out there and doing our job, going out there and playing hard. We have to win the line of scrimmage, first and foremost. And then once that happens, the things on the back end kind of take care of themselves. So, yes, it's going to be a good game. And, man, I'm excited for it. And, have a school like Prosper come in. Our JVs go out there to Prosper. So it's a good travel for us and our fans to get out there and see a little bit more of the world. So it's an exciting week. We got homecoming this week. And, homecoming's a whole different animal in itself because everybody seems to want to do everything except for, practice football or go to school. So, our boys have done a great job of staying focused this week, staying ready, and still at the same time, enjoy being young, enjoy this homecoming stuff that goes on with it. So it's been a fun week. We just got to take care of business Friday night to cap it off.
Well, it's funny. I was going to say, not only do you have homecoming, but you have the bye week coming up. You sometimes get players and even coaches. The coaches have told me before they'll kind of start peeking ahead to that off week. And as much as we love playing football, there's nothing wrong with an off week right in the middle of the season. So do you have any worry about that with your players?
No, heck no, man. We're going to, we'll take that. We'll take the off week and we'll take a couple of days, kind of heal up a little bit, and man, we'll go back out there. And it's a good week. It's funny because we coaches always talk about what do you do on bye week, because you want to heal up, you want everybody there, but you don't want to, you don't want to lose anything either. So, we go out there and work a lot of fundamentals, go do our turnover circuits, our tackling circuits. We'll go out there and do a lot of situational stuff, do some best on best type of things, to keep us sharp and to keep us ready. And then we go into, district play, and that's where our mindset is. Once we get into the bye week, how are we going to be ready for Eagle Mountain? How are we going to be ready for district? Because those are the games, they all count, but those are the games that count to get you into the playoffs. So we got to stay dialed in. We got to stay focused. But our kids, they've done it. They know what it's like. These boys, they love to win. So there's never a, a lack of want to with them. You know, we're going to say this is when we're going to practice, and this is how we're going to practice. And they get out there, and, well, they bring energy every day, which is great for us. And, you know, especially now if the weather's cooler. Shoot, man, it's been nice. So our boys got a championship mindset right now. So it makes what we do as coaches, it makes it very enjoyable.
Now, as a coach on bye week, are you one of those that you're going to, on Friday and Saturday, you're going to engross yourself watching a bunch of games, go into a game, or are you the type that just kind of disengages for those couple days and kind of gets back into it the Sunday when the next week starts?
I would like to say I disengage, but we don't. I think our disengaging, because our whole district's off. There's nobody in district that we can go scout. So we try to go out and, find a good game to go watch and, go see some teams that we possibly, may play down the road, or just go see some of my buddies' teams play, and go heckle them a little bit from the stands, So that's about the disengaging we get, man, because shoot, this is what we do. This is our life, and this is what we love to do. So our disengage is, go watch more football.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, I want to thank Coach Mathis for joining us here. Homecoming week, the bye week coming up. Some would say a trap possibility. I think maybe with a different opponent, but really not. I mean, this team just feels dialed in. Feels like it's been dialed in since, the first game of the season. I'm ready for district. I love the non-district. I like the season being as long as it is, but I am ready for district, and especially in 3-4A Division II, because there's so much uncertainty. Graham definitely down from where they've been. Can they rebound in time? Mineral Wells beat up, but still a quality team. Eagle Mountain hasn't looked great, but also beat a really good Paradise team. Bridgeport, a 1-2 team that I keep being told is better than their record, and they've kind of had some injury issues. Can they get better? And then even a team like Benbrook, who is, winless so far. I mean, Burke Burnett. I don't know why I said Benbrook. Benbrook's a pretty solid team. Even Burke Burnett, I mean, when you look at who they've gotten beat by in Vernon and Holiday and Iowa Park, I know those are 3A schools, but, especially Holiday is a great 3A school, and they put up 41 on them. Now, that could have easily been where they put it up a lot in late points, when the game was out of hand. But to be fair, they lost to Holiday last year, and it was 56-18. They lose to Holiday this year, it's 64-41. So if some of those points were when the game was still competitive, you still got to just wonder. This is Brock and everybody else is basically my view. And so it's just curious to see where everybody else falls in this. And again, reminder, bye week next week, we will have no traditional show. I do want to do something with Mike, with the Optimist Football Club, possibly bringing him on and just kind of really talk the club and all. We've talked H&S Septic Services, which is his, and we appreciate that, but he really wants to focus on the football stuff, and so we're trying to get all that information so that we can do that. All right, be safe in your travels. Enjoy homecoming this week. Enjoy all the football, and let's meet back here next week in some way or capacity on the Brock Eagle Football Show.